You are now listening to Broken Line Podcast, presented by Fish Addictions TV. Broken Line Podcast is sponsored by Ice Strong Titanium Spring Bobber, Eskimo Ice Fishing Gear, 13 Fishing, Striker Ice, Coles Resort of Bemidji, Minnesota, Aaron Eichhorst Photography.
All right. So we are doing a podcast on half of the season with Fish Addictions TV.
Is it on?
It's recording.
Well, I think the first time we talked, that was the plan. We were going to come in halfway through and tell you guys all the shenanigans we've been up to.
So we got Mike, we've got Anthony, we've got Jim, we've got Evan, and we've got Brian. And those guys have been on a few of the episodes throughout the season.
Maybe made one or two of them.
Yeah.
One or two of them.
Full house.
Yeah, we also got Nancy in here too. But she's just gonna sit over in the corner. Peace. So we're kind of halfway through season 3 of Fish Addictions TV on Fox Sports North, Fox Sports Wisconsin. Mike, what is it? What's the journey been through? The whole half the season so far.
Where do you start with this season? I mean, it's always it starts with that anticipation, and then it's the grind. We've been grinding it out, just trip after trip, and somewhere in there, I had a baby.
Just recently you had a baby, actually.
Yeah, somewhere in this first half, like 3 weeks
we
ago.
We always joke about last year I had a baby in the middle of the season. You're like, what are you doing having a baby?
Yeah, you got yelled at. You got yelled at.
And then he goes and
but nobody yelled at Gandalf.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I did give him a little guff last year. I'm like, what are you thinking, man?
I gave him no guff this year.
And he's like, I didn't plan it this way. And I was like, I tried to use the same excuse.
I didn't plan it either. And here we are. But you have a beautiful son. And
Connor Douglas.
And I've seen the photos, and it's awesome.
Welcome.
Life is life. No matter what we do with Fish Addictions TV, no matter how many trips we take, there's still family. And there's still family that surprises you or not surprises you, and it's a beautiful, beautiful kid. So we've got 8 episodes this season already. 8 would be the Whitney episode for the 8th episode.
Yep.
So what is it like being able to, when we started the beginning of the season, we talked with you, and you were pumped about the season and where we're going to go. So now we've done 8 locations. How does that come down to you with, me and you have traveled? I'm getting 9 from Jim, but it is 9. Yeah, because we did Saginaw for the 9th.
Oh yeah,
episode.
yeah.
So
you're right.
Thanks, off-screen Jim. Thank you.
I will say that we did the first few episodes with the GMC. We got the Ford rolling now, and we got just a hair under 10,000 miles in 8 weeks on the Ford.
You're going to get people that come and be like, GMC, Ford, what the heck? But
I love them
bring
all.
in the battle.
Yeah.
I love them all.
It's
kind of like what we talked about earlier. In this day and age with products and stuff, no matter what brand you roll with, it's going to be good stuff.
Absolutely. And it's
GMC,
gotten us
Ford,
to every
Dodge,
destination.
Chevy,
It does help that we had a brand new vehicle to get us to those destinations. But let's just say Saginaw Bay. Here's my anxiety in the back seat. 17 hours. I'm in the back seat. We're almost to Duluth, and my anxiety's rolling. And here's the back of the trailer.
And
swerving.
then we had Taylor in the back seat, just keep going. Keep going. We're going to get home.
More miles.
It's 3 in the morning. We're going to get home.
And I'm back there guys, let's pull over in Ashland. I don't want to die. My son's birthday's in a couple days. I'm like, let's just pull over. And Mike's like, we're fine. We're going to make it.
We're doing 45 miles an hour. I mean, what's going to happen? You slide into the ditch and you got to have somebody.
And I wanted 30.
Yeah, he's like, I think you're going a little fast. I was like, dude, I'm moving 45 miles an hour. He's like, my anxiety is through the roof.
All I could see was us swerving into traffic. Forget going in the ditch.
There was no traffic out there. There was 3 other vehicles in the whole drive.
There was some traffic.
It was 3:30 in the morning.
Oh, it wasn't 3:30. Come on. But either way, we got home. We survived.
You can ask Jim. We didn't get home to my house till 6:45 in the morning.
We got home at my house at 4. And I was...
So it was 2 o'clock in the morning.
And that's why I don't walleye fish.
It was funny because we ran into...
Why?
Because of that crazy shenanigans.
You had a 17-hour drive. I had a 13, but I was with you, so as part of that trip, we went to Saginaw Bay. But let's rewind to episode 1. But before we get there, we did Subway 9 o'clock at night. The doors were about to lock, and this dude's wiping the floors.
Thank you, dude, in whatever town that was that stayed open for the allotted time you were supposed to stay open.
Iron River, Wisconsin.
He saw us pull in and 5 guys get out of the truck, and he could just see his eyes roll in the back of his head, and he was already mopping. Then we walked in, and we just totally screwed up the floor in Subway. Oh. But then Jim was first to get a sandwich, and props to Jim. He grabbed the mop and re-mopped the floor for the guy.
Really?
Really?
He mopped the bathroom.
Jim. That's awesome.
The floor, and he was trying to help that guy out because he obviously
That's super cool.
He's like, my boss won't allow me to work 1 minute over. He won't pay me, and I ain't working.
12 hours.
Okay, buddy.
We had
Thank you for the sandwich.
10, 12 hours, and nice enough, Jim over there in the corner, he swept the floor to the bathroom, and this dude's like, I got 6 minutes, one more sub I'm going to make. And then some other girl walks in, and you can see him going, God. Because it's 5 of us plus one other person. And he made the sandwich. It was awesome. But that was the Saginaw Bay. So bringing it all the way back to episode 1, 2, 3, Bemidji, Minnesota, northern Minnesota, Lake of the Woods. What was going through, what's some of the stuff we've had to encounter in Season 3 so far, all the way up to episode 9?
Well, with every episode, we start out and we do the best to our ability to find that bite that's really going to interest the people out there. And in my head, there's two things to think about on your first episode of the year. I mean, there's Red Lake, obviously. It freezes over first. But, we did Red Lake the year before, and we really wanted to change it up. And we have Bemidji right in our backyard, and Patrick and Andrew had a bite going in the fall. Yeah. And so we thought, well, let's try to capitalize on that bite. And it worked out, obviously. We had a heck of a time. We put a lot of fish on the ice in a very short period of time.
That was a wicked-looking episode.
Oh, yeah, man. We're walking across the lake, and Aaron has this shot, and it looks like the auger's floating on open water.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
Yeah, we were actually in the background of that shot, that auger kind of floating. There was
one of my favorite shots so far this year.
Anthony Kracha, Dustin Larson, Jim, Mike, you, as well as maybe 1 or 2 other people.
But I think what episode 1
Brian was also there.
Yeah, I think what episode 1 did for Fish Addictions right from the get-go is when you can start a year that strong, on that strong of a bite. And then not only that, but, we're new to this stuff. We're only on season 3, and we're just trying to get better and better and better as we go, as far as our talking, as far as our information, and still just being us on the ice. And that episode flowed really well. We had a lot of fun times on the ice. We were laughing, giving each other a hard time, but it just felt good all the way through. When you can start that strong and really just nail it on that first one, it got the season going, and we were all smiles.
It was a great vibe to start on.
175 crappies in about a day, maybe a day and a half, day and a quarter. And we tried more than one lake, too.
And 90% of them were 13.5 or better.
And ice safety was a big thing, too. We were planning on ice safety.
That was early. That was the week before the St. Paul Ice Show.
It was the weekend after Christmas. Thanksgiving. Yeah, Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Yeah, muzzleloader opener. Mostly the time I'd be chasing deer, but
Black Friday we were fishing black crappies. That was pretty cool.
That was and that was based on a fall bite that you had before a couple months, a month and a half, a couple months.
Which
before.
I thought was really cool and appropriate for that time because that's reality.
Yeah,
if you can find these fish in like late October, man, mark it on your graph or mark it on your GPS and. Chances are they're going to be there when there's safe enough ice to walk out.
Well, and that's really true all year long. You know how the fish transition in the summer. A lot of times if you backtrack your winter, where those fish are at in the fall, and then you go midwinter or late winter when it gets real cold, they'll do a lot of their summer patterns, almost play it backwards and then go back, And so that's one thing that a lot of people don't really, understand. And does it happen at every lake? No, but a lot of lakes, if you play that backwards your summer, you probably find and land on those fish quite often.
Yeah. And people ask why we don't give away smaller lakes. What's your input on giving the name of the smaller lake?
I mean, it's pretty plain and simple. I mean, we've all seen lakes get fished out, and it's not that we don't want to help everybody that where we're at and that kind of stuff. But the thing is if they take what we're doing and apply it to a lake of a smaller lake or a lake that has those basins or a lake that has those big weed points, and they apply that to the lake they're fishing. And that's really what it's all about. We're not out here to just give those lakes away. I mean, people work hard. There's people that enjoy those lakes. We don't want to ruin it for them. Right. And we're there to have fun, to film an episode, and to give you information. And trust me, I mean, if you can go to the lake that we were fishing on and apply that, you can go to the lake that your local lake and apply that as well.
It's very universal information.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you can apply it anywhere.
It takes a lot of work to find those bites, especially the staffers that are doing that. And, we're trying to give everybody the information that they can have to do the same thing.
And you were on episode 1 and episode 2, so you were with crappies, and you were also with Lake of the Woods. What being two different bodies of water, open, or beginning of the season, what is it like being able to transition from the crappies, which was overwhelming, to kind of a more tougher bite on the Lake of the Woods, where we were in that glacier, we were doing a run and gun half episode. What is it like being able to, you fished Lake of the Woods multiple times before, so what was it like being on Lake of the Woods this year after coming off of that crappie bite?
It was all about Mother Nature. I mean, the crappie episode, it was gorgeous. We were fishing outside, and it was nice out. We had sweatshirts on, and you go up to Lake of the Woods, it's a huge body of water, and Mother Nature always plays a factor in how you're going to fish when you go up there. And I think we tackled it to the best of our abilities, the way a lot of people fish Lake of the Woods. And I mean, we had a great time. We caught a lot of fish, and put in the effort to put together a good bite and a good show.
I think what made that show special really is we appealed to 90% or more of the fishermen that go up there. I mean, what are they doing? We said it in the show. Lake of the Woods, Red Lake, that's like, permanent ice house central. You go out there, and there can be thousands of permanent houses out there, wheel houses out there at any one time. And that's what we did. We get out there to the best of our ability, put that house on a spot to produce fish, and we caught a ton of fish. Mm-hmm. We did not catch the big fish, but that's fishing.
Right.
I mean...
And that, what?
Why are those big fish so special when you catch them? Because it doesn't happen every day.
Right. And if you're going to hunt big fish on a body of water like that, a permanent house isn't a way to go. You gotta keep moving, I think.
You got to move and group.
You'll get lucky once in a while and stick a big one in a permanent house. But if you're seriously targeting big fish, that's a portable movement type situation for sure.
And even when you're out in the mud like that on a body of water like Lake of the Woods, it's hundreds of square miles of mud that these fish are constantly roaming in. So the only thing you can do is put the odds in your favor, by still looking at contour lines, by still doing those inside turns and trying to set your house up in a high probability area.
Right.
And that's what we did. And we had a bunch of nice fish. We caught a lot in that 16 to 18 inch range, which to me, that was a very successful day on Lake of the Woods.
Well, how many times have we been to Lake of the Woods where it is big fish or it is eater-sized fish? I mean, every time you go up there, there's a different chance of something different. I mean, we went up there, we put in our time, we put in our work, we did the sit, and then we also run and gun the next day. And I mean, you went up there with your son like 4 or 5 days later, and you guys caught good fish. I mean, in the same exact spot. I mean, it's fishing, right? I mean, there's never going to be a situation where you're going to question your fishing area. I mean, we fished literally hours, and we caught 60, 70, 80 beautiful eater-sized fish. They go there 3 days later with his son, and they caught a couple beautiful fish.
Yeah.
And, of course, with scheduling, we never got that completely on film, but it's fishing, and there's beautiful eater-sized fish as well as great big fish there as well.
What I think was so special about that episode is really guys travel from hundreds and sometimes probably thousands of miles away to go to Lake of the Woods. It's a world-renowned destination, and we're not there to only catch big fish. We're there to actually give people the reality of what they're getting into.
Oh,
I don't want them to think they're going to Lake of the Woods and they're only going to catch big fish. Lake of the Woods is a factory. It's just saugers and walleyes and perch, and get up to the north end of crappies. And if you guys have followed along what we do over the years, the Northwest Angle, it has, the Canadian side, the South Shore, the War Road side with all the reefs. There's so much up there that you can get into. And really, what we did is we went up there. We had a set few days that we were going to be filming, and it was going to be what it was going to be. If we caught a big fish, great. But the reality of it is there's a lot of nice fish in that lake, and you're not always going to catch a big one. But the world-class fish are in there.
Sure. Absolutely.
And there's not many places you can go and catch fish all day long. That's the nice thing about Lake of the Woods is you can sit in your permanent shack and catch fish all day.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about catching those bite windows.
Right.
Before we let Anthony go, Anthony, season 1, how many episodes have you been in the last 9 episodes? For season 3,
I think 4.
3 or 4?
Yeah.
So tell me your input on you being part of the first 2 seasons of Fish Addictions TV, moving into season 3. Tell me a little bit about how your feelings have been this season, how you felt that the season's gone so far, from the aspect of being out fishing, social media content, etc. And we've had you on the Broken Line podcast before, but tell me a little bit about how you have felt being part of Fish Addictions season 3 and the episodes you've been so far. You were on episode 1, episode 2.
Yep. And then over to Wisconsin for smallies, and
over
then
in Wisconsin
for walleyes. Yeah.
Perfect. So tell me what it's been so far as a roller coaster of you being a part of it in a whole.
I think the coolest thing that I've been thinking about for Fish Addictions for the first half is of the 8 or 9 episodes we filmed, there's been 6 different species of fish, which I think is really cool. We've covered a lot of different unique bites. I wasn't able to be on all of them, but just being able to watch the staff and the guys be on some of those great bites has been really fun. It's not the same thing week in and week out.
Instead of it being like walleye.
Right.
We've spread it out.
Walleyes are still, my favorite. I think Mike's favorite. They're going to get going here pretty soon. We got a few more episodes, but, for me it was fun to be able to get on a couple unique bites, especially the Wisconsin Smallie episode.
That's my favorite of the season.
We had a great time over there.
The Wisconsin Smallie episode. Not only did you do that crappie episode to start the season out, but let's jump into that Smallie episode. We did 2 episodes on that Smallie episode, and that was our probably best weather we've had all season for Fish Addictions.
Maybe that's why it was so much nicer.
Maybe it was. Because you see like the Winnie episode and all those. We have crappy, windy weather. And like he said in the Winnie episode, he's like, it's Fish Addictions fashion that we're
built for it.
In cold.
I wouldn't have it any other way, honestly. It's just one of those things.
It's real.
When you get it done and you catch those fish that you need to catch, it almost is like you drive away from there. And it's like,
well,
if we
completed,
we got it done, we got it figured out.
If we completed the episode in the worst conditions possibly, I feel like conquered something.
Exactly. If we can do it on the worst conditions, hopefully, then the people that we're giving the information to, they can go there, and if it's in even better conditions, they'll do just as good or maybe better. So.
And you did. What was it like to be able to be? And you were in the production episode of that Smallie episode and in the regular episode. What was it like being able to see the production side as well as the normal side in that episode for the smallies? Because we don't target smallies very often, especially ice fishing. So what was it like being able to kind of be a part of the smallmouth style feel of an episode?
Yeah, it was really fun to be able to show the people kind of the behind the scenes, all the different cameras that we use. We talk about it a little bit, but actually show them how we use them and the different tips.
Don't give too much away. We're getting there.
Yeah, it's fun to just be able to share some of that. I know a lot of people have GoPros, and I think everybody likes to film themselves. It's fun to look back at pictures, but when you can watch a video of yourself, it's just reliving that moment. So.
And the GoPro thing to me is a big deal because from a production side, you guys being able to capture your own footage, and we're actually talking about releasing fun GoPro clips on our Facebook page at Fish Addictions and our YouTube, and just be able to come up with some of the fun clips that we capture, during a shoot. Yeah, like the Chewbacca one that he did.
What?
Call him up.
Call Chewbacca.
But being able to have that
Crafty,
Crafty's Box of Fun.
Call him up.
To be able to have that fun GoPro side of things, that more raw, that you guys will be able to capture, kind of brings that realistic part of an average fisherman to life. I mean,
That's what we all are. We're all just average
Candid
fishermen.
is good word.
Candid,
Yeah.
People love candid.
You guys press record and you guys do your own thing. There's no production. There's no please do this, please do that. It's you guys press record and you guys do your own thing. And that's an awesome side of things.
Oh, I'm in love with my GoPro.
Yeah.
I can't stop.
I think one of my favorite things about this whole season so far is, we're spread out on the ice, and Aaron's got a one-man crew, and you're all of a sudden you hear Aaron, and he's on the sled. You know how like Gillespie's on his 4-wheeler, like someone's reeling, and he's just like coming up. Well, that's Aaron, like as fast as he can, camera in one hand, him just across the ice, and he's like getting off and like trying to get it all.
Jumping
And that's
off.
where those GoPros have come in handy, because the first part of what he maybe didn't get. Some of us were getting that this year, which we with that shuttle, it's made it possible.
Jumping off and tripping, but luckily
It's pretty
I have
funny.
my
Like
cleats on.
Patrick will have a fish on the other side of the we're 100 yards apart, and it's like Aaron's sitting on there. It's like sled just goes, and he's got that big buggy on the back, that we built this year for his cameras, and it's just clanking and going. He's as fast. I mean, he's pretty nimble for
Oh yeah,
for a
for
camera
sure.
guy.
But I mean, the probably the best bet would be with Saginaw Bay with Jim. One of those situations where we're about to cross a crack, and I took my cleats, which I wear all the time, no matter what.
Yeah.
And I took my cleats and I decided, okay, I'm going to take my cleats and I'm going to leave them at home because I thought there was enough snow. And Jim would know, Jim stepping in there now, Jim would know as I got out to film these guys on the crack. I came walking up to the crack, pure ice, with camera in hand. Again, there's no footage of this, thank you.
That's the slowest I've ever seen anybody fall.
And
It took you 5 minutes to
he
fall down.
fell?
Felt that way, yeah.
5 minutes to fall.
It seemed like it.
I fell.
Oh my goodness! It was
Camera.
Just, I'm falling. Oh no!
Hey, just so you know, I had extra cleats in my sled. I knew he wasn't going to
I
forget
know,
it.
and I put those cleats on right after. And those
Actually,
are
I
the
put an
big
extra
cleats,
pair in
too.
after last year.
So I fell, and luckily I had my helmet on from the snowmobile.
Yes, you did.
And my head smoked the
Smoked
ice,
the
and
ice.
I laid there and I was like pissed off at myself because I usually wear my cleats.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually Mike that I'm telling, hey, you need your cleats because of after last year Winnipeg when you fell. We're like, we need cleats no matter what.
Took a
I don't
little
care how much
vacation, I
snow's
heard
there.
about
You just
that.
put your cleats on.
Right.
To be fair, I had a pair of cheap cleats on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the snow got under. Yeah. Whole story for that. But I fell and I was not.
I think we've all done something that stupid. I know I've seen you, Mike, do something that stupid.
But
and
but
pay the
falling
price.
on the ice is a.
I know
It's
I've
a
done
bad
it.
deal.
My
I
question-
fell out of my truck one time and my other foot didn't hit the ground.
I did it.
It
When we
was-
just got back from Saginaw. And I'm still hobbling around. I got
Yeah.
out. We get
When
back
we
at
got back.
Saginaw 6:45 in the morning.
Yep.
I jump out of the truck, literally back the trailer into the shop, jump out of the truck, and
Done
boom,
deal.
done.
He texted
All
me the
that
next day. He's
still
like,
hobbling.
I'm going to the hospital. I think I broke my leg,
All
broke
that-
my ankle.
I was
I'm
starting.
Like, what?
I was starting my truck and all I heard was cussing and a phone hit the ground. And I'm like,
What happened? Over
Mike
there?
must be hurt. That sounded
Wow,
like it
you guys
sucked.
keep doing what you're doing, and a whole bunch of us will just get a group discount on surgeries.
Oh yeah.
Surgery.
But there's a.
I go
there's a
see the
Sanford.
surgeon on Monday, man.
Yep. Sanford is
you-
here in Bemidji, so
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
getting
same,
new
yeah.
parts.
It's here. So episode, I know, Jim wasn't part of that, but episode 4 or episode 3, you were part of episode 3.
That's the bluegills, right?
the Bluegill
Yep,
episode.
Bluegill.
So you guys were in the Bluegills, Big Foreheads,
big forehead.
Backwoods Lake, snowmobile,
buffets.
KFC buffets, 3 mile, snowmobile ride in.
Yep.
Pristine Lakes, little sleet coming down.
Through some sketch area.
What between you two, since you guys were there, and Mike, what was it like? Bluegills are an episode I've always wanted to kind of capture, big bluegills, and we did it this year. And
In
as
a big
Mike,
way.
as
Lot of
Mike
big
said in
fish.
the episode, he's like, big bluegills are a hard situation
Oh,
to
man.
find. So what was it
Yeah.
like? You snowmobile ride. You were texting me, or you were telling me today in the truck. You're like, oh man, I need a snowmobile so bad.
Oh, dude, it'd been like 20 years since I been on a snowmobile. And I was like, wow, there's so much suspension.
And there's over by
and,
Jim. Jim's
it's
like, yeah, I
a
got a snowmobile
Cadillac,
every day.
man. These, I could.
The old Jag 4000s have come a long way.
And
Yes.
they're all liquid cooled now or oil cooled and
Yeah.
stuff. Like, oh man, I should sell the Jeep and just drive this year round.
I know I've told just about anybody that listen to me that Snowcat is my favorite purchase for ice fishing. Totally. I don't like driving my vehicles on the ice
Yeah.
to begin with. I don't care if there's 5 feet of ice.
I
All
think
snowmobile out.
I think one thing that bluegill did is is we've been throwing a lot of information out there, but those big bluegills, if people really paid attention to what we were doing, and one thing that people out there took away from is that bluegills aren't just a tungsten fish. We caught a lot of those big bluegills on spoons.
Spoons?
And guys don't understand or don't utilize that bite. And for me, that's my first thing. Right. When I'm fishing big bluegills, I go to spoons right off the bat. And
that's a great choice.
Else.
That's a great choice. And I think that's what's appealing to bluegill fishing is you don't know if it's going to be a spoon bite or if it's going to be a 3mm tungsten. Don't move it. Don't touch it.
Right.
There's that vast
this is
array.
Too much for them.
Yeah.
Well, but the reasoning I start with spoons is because you can gauge how active those fish are and then downsize yourself. Yep. Why go to something so small right off the bat?
Yeah.
And really, hurt yourself a little bit.
And that technique can be applied to any type of fishing.
Absolutely.
Me personally, I always start out aggressive and then fine tune from there. If it's not aggressive, then you reel her back.
This season, we have kind of changed our aspect on talking about, I would say, more pushing product. Yeah. And in this case, we've kind of taken what the fans have said, and we've kind of reeled towards the fact of talking about product in a different way.
I think what makes a good show is to listen to the people that are watching you. And I at the end of last year, we put it out there. We asked people. Different sites, whatever. What do you guys think? And a lot of guys thought, well, maybe you guys are pushing your product a little too much, and so we took the
which is every show.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. I mean that's part of what it is. But so our goal this year is to just tell people what's working for us. In fishing, it's got to work for you. Mm-hmm. Just because it's working for me doesn't mean that rod's going to work for you. Just because that spoon is working for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you.
Right.
When I'm a big believer, it's all in confidence. Mm-hmm. 80% of fishing is in your head. If you have confidence in where you're at, what you're fishing for, what you're fishing with, it's going to fall into place for you.
Yeah.
You just got to stick to everything you know. Or you've heard or you've gathered, and a lot of times it's good enough fall in place. And Winnie was an absolute, testament to that. We didn't know anything about Winnie. I fished Winnie one time in the boat, and I'm telling you, the perch drove me so nuts. We went through 10 dozen crawlers a day.
Yeah, and I got yelled at.
Perch, basically.
Because I went with what I know. What I had confidence in, and I got yelled at.
No. Like, you want to tell the true story.
Yeah, tell the truth.
Pan fishing gear?
Yeah, you panfish geared that.
You panfish gear, and you lipped a walleye again.
Whatever, I lip
every
everything.
year. You lip a walleye.
The only thing I've
Patrick's
never
just trying to prove something.
I wasn't trying to prove anything. I was just like, you know what? It was following my Castmaster. It just wouldn't take, and I'm like, oh well, let's see if he takes
Harry
this.
and the Hendersons?
Yeah, why?
See, I just watched that clip of you lipping that walleye, and when you brought it up, you know how Harry smiles and his lips just flare? Like, you had that look in your eyes, and I called Aaron, I'm like, ain't happening. Harry and the Hendersons. Like, at this point, hold on, stop. Can you take the mic away from you a second? Because Aaron, when he posts this, is going to get a picture of Harry from Harry and the Hendersons and put it right next to your face. Dead ringer.
So you're saying I look like a Sasquatch?
Can a player get some food?
Yeah, man. I'll fully admit I am not a walleye angler. I mean, I'll go with guys like you that walleye fish, but it doesn't take me very long, and I'm like,
you have a minor hatred for us walleye guys.
No, I don't have a hatred.
It seems like
a minor.
No,
it's a minor one. It's not.
He's out there like pouting in his wide.
He is.
I wasn't
how
pouting.
hungry he is. If he was on a bluegill bite, he would have been like,
so
hungry. When's food?
Yeah, that you know what that might be true because we were on a pretty cool bite, and I didn't say a word until we got off the lake. Like, yeah, we got to get food now, or Jim's dead.
Yeah,
I was riding with Jim. I'm like, I'm gonna eat half of him. The upper half.
The upper half.
Yeah. That's probably the better half.
Let's skip past 5 because we'll come back to that with Evan. But let's go 6, episode 6. I mean, episode 9. Sorry, Saginaw Bay. Mm-hmm. That was a roller coaster of an episode, and we'll come back to the trout episode with you in a second. But Saginaw Bay, Lake Huron, 17-hour drive. You came along for the ride with Mike. Tell me a little bit about not only the road trip, the lake itself, the ice conditions, the crew we went with, big walleyes, everything.
So as far as the trip itself goes, my butt cheeks are still sleeping. That was
From the road trip?
Oh my goodness, that was a long time in the back seat.
16, 17 hours.
Yeah,
is a long time.
I was hugged up against the door. I mean, that imprint of my elbow and my head has to be on that door.
And Will came
somewhere.
with, so
Will
you know.
came with. Will rode back seat
For a while.
and Will is a sweet kid. He's a big kid. And
KFC
you got
buffets, baby.
You got three of us in the back seat there.
KFC buffet.
Yeah, KFC buffets. They're just
He
for
will
the,
never
for the
live that
three
down.
of us. It was three of us in the back seat for the better part of 8-9 hours of that thing was
a long time. Yeah.
that was a bit dicey. I'm not gonna lie. But
So-
as far as the fishing itself goes, I mean, I can't say that in February that I've had to worry that much about ice safety. It was crazy. I mean, it was. We spent the first night. We spent hours looking for a safe place to cross that crack with 4-wheelers and Rangers and whatnot.
Did you guys even consider fishing the crack?
No, it wasn't that wide. It wasn't wide
Oh,
open.
okay.
It was just the ice around it was so sketchy that you could spud it and go through it for as far as you could reach. So 4-wheelers and Rangers couldn't cross it. I'm sure if we wanted to be nuts about it, we would have zipped across in our sleds.
And of course,
easily,
we don't
but
condone
absolutely
bad safe.
not.
But
no.
we found a place that would be best fit for us to
For
cross.
everybody
we
to
crossed,
cross.
and we actually have some footage of them, spudding their way through 3-4 feet of complete open water.
Yep.
And we're like, nope. And here's some guy deciding he was,
Yeah.
the savior of
It
everything.
was
It's like,
Larry
I'm
the
going.
Larry the Enticer
Yeah.
Jr. decided to jump
Just gonna
across
send it.
and then
Just gonna send it, yeah.
and he jumped across like he hadn't been an athlete since he was 2.
And we're like,
It was.
I
it
saw
was
that
terrible.
video, man.
it was on
terrible.
Snapchat. And the
Yeah,
biggest
I
thing with
saw
us
that.
is we don't want to
Nuts.
condone that. So we
No,
decided
not at all.
we need to find the best place to cross.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
we
we
didn't
did.
drive all that way to put our machines in the water. We
No,
did everything
absolutely
we can
not.
to be
And-
safe and come home. We got families and
Yep.
wives and girlfriends and
Well,
dogs and kids.
And that type of mentality just, I mean, even today,
Right.
we're out on Lake Bemidji and
Not worth it.
I'm still thinking like, things can go wrong. You
And
know,
the good
you gotta
part of
keep
that
your head
episode-
on straight.
The good part of that episode, we actually talked about how much ice safety is an importance to one of the Great Lakes
Right.
of the United States.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
Great Lakes are, of course, an unsafe body of water
Oh.
unless you know the right
to
path.
be truthfully, on Lake on Saginaw Bay, we didn't get to where we wanted to get.
Nope.
We made it about halfway.
Yep.
Oh, really?
It was sketchy.
Yeah,
A
we
week
didn't get-
earlier, we would have been able to go the extra 3-4 miles out on the lake. We did not get to where we wanted to get
which
to
was
film that episode.
23 feet.
Yeah, 23,
Yep,
24
And we
feet.
fished
We were fishing
12?
12 to 14
12.
feet most of the time. We did at one point, get out, and we went way around and figured out a way. Not really figured out a way. It was about a mile and a half from where we were shot most of the episode, and got into that 20-some feet of water. But that was just one of those calls we had to make. Yeah, we drove 17 hours, 16 and a half, 17 hours to get there. But we're going to film that episode, with safety in mind. Again, like I said, we've got wives, kids, animals, daughters, whatever we've got back here that care for us. And
We don't wanna show
and we make those
negative.
promises when we walk out the door every day, as
Yeah.
we're going to do as much as we can to make sure we come home.
Yep.
And there's zero safe ice.
Oh, yeah.
And-
Right.
Ice fishing.
Ice
Ice
safety,
fishing
nothing.
is you got to be conscious about what you're doing all the time, every place you go, every call you make, and you can't take anything for granted. That's part of what I love about it is making those calls and just making sure that we're making the proper calls. Now, we actually saw some pretty crazy stuff on Saginaw that I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much I want to give away on it. I don't know if we're gonna get that. If
The episode will be up by the time this goes out. I mean, first day, craziness.
first 2 hours, we're standing there, and Scott, one of the guys that came with, he was the camp cook. He called himself. And
He's an
we're
awesome
all
guy.
standing
He was a
there,
good dude,
and Scott, awesome.
Yeah,
all
he just
those
friended me on Facebook.
all those guys are awesome.
Sent
out
me a
there. I mean,
message
like a
and
family.
stuff.
Before you get to that, everyone who took their time in Michigan
Yeah,
to
thank
come
you.
down was awesome. I
Yep.
mean, from the hospitality to the cooking of the fish to cooking, food with us to bring us to where we need to fish.
Scott
and
Fowler
safely bringing us to that spot
on the ice.
That was all he did.
Oh my Lord!
Straight up legit, Gordon Ramsay type stuff.
Yes,
absolutely.
Right on the ice.
Man, we got to hang
Breakfast,
with this guy.
This
lunch.
guy is awesome.
Yep.
Yeah,
and then he cooked his
told
dinner
us
the
that.
one
We
day.
met him the night before, and he's like, "You guys are gonna treat on the ice," and we're like, "Ooh!" And
He was
this
out there
guy
just
ends
to
up,
cook
he
for
was-
us.
He came out pretty much 99% to cook for us.
Yep.
And he ends up that he was stationed in Grand Forks and that area, and lived in
30 years ago.
lived in Northwood, North Dakota, which is where Josh Clausen lived for a while, and it's about 20 miles down the road from where I'm at. I know a lot of the same people in Thompson that he knows. Small world, pretty cool.
That's awesome.
We went 17 hours to meet a guy from 20 minutes away.
From our
Yeah.
area.
That's
Pretty
awesome.
crazy.
pretty
It
cool.
was
Yeah,
first-
he seems
And
like
he
a super cool guy.
and
Because
he
like I said, he
couldn't-
messaged,
he
he
couldn't have
friended
been
me,
a nicer
messaged
guy.
me.
He couldn't have been a nicer guy.
I have never eaten sucker that I liked, but this guy had a smoked sucker dip.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable.
It was,
that you put on crackers.
Yep.
Scott, if you're listening,
like a
send
tuna.
us some, please.
It was like
Thank
a
you.
tuna.
We'll take 3 gallons.
Scott,
Yep.
tuna
send
dip.
it all. We got to feed the crew.
But before we get switched to Brian here, you had first day, 2 hours in. What happened?
Yeah, we're standing there and hole hopping like we always do.
And this guy actually stopped and talked to me and Taylor
Yeah.
30 seconds before.
we had been standing there earlier in the day, and we like I said, we didn't make it to the spot we wanted to make it. You could see there was something wrong with the ice a couple hundred yards away from where we were at, right?
Yeah.
So and in the morning when the sun was coming up, it looked like open water. And like I said, a couple hours later, sun's up, we're doing our thing, and I hear Aaron and a guy nicknamed Lin or
Ling Ling.
Ling and
all of a
Justin.
sudden,
Isaiah.
he's like, "Oh no, don't do
Yeah,
that!
Justin.
Don't do that!" We all look up, and this guy's driving on this ice that we all look sketchy.
We're eating
Boom,
breakfast.
straight through the ice, and it was like
Was
straight.
he walking or?
No, he was on his
Four-wheeler.
four-wheeler.
Driving
Four-wheeler
four-wheeler.
down through the ice.
Like
It
we're
was
watching
straight
him fall
survival mode.
right
It
into
was crazy.
into the lake.
He stopped and
Crazy.
talked to Taylor and I, and he's like, "Hey, how's it going? Well, I'm gonna head out this way, and if you see me come back to grab shacks, you know that I'm on fish. Come follow me."
A minute later, he
A
falls
minute
through.
later, we hear all the ruckus
And
over
what saved him?
where they're at.
His ice picks.
His ice
His
picks.
ice pick.
Literally, he was on his four-wheeler.
Yep.
By the time we got there with the sleds, he was probably a good half a mile from where.
Well, I wouldn't even say that far.
And you guys got
from
you
you
guys,
guys, he wasn't.
from us.
But we were
From
a
us,
couple
he
hundred
was
yards
only a
away.
couple hundred yards away from
and
where
you guys
we were
got
at.
to him pretty quick.
Yep.
Yeah,
Like,
we
we
were
were
on the
watching.
sleds. I mean, I don't even think I
It was
turned my
3
sled
minutes.
off yet
No.
from getting over because I was just by you guys.
Yep.
And we turn around and we hustle out there. By the time we got out there, he was able to pick himself out. But, I mean, without those picks, who knows?
Right.
That's a dangerous
He
situation.
got-
wouldn't have
And
been-
that's what
without
terrifies
those-
me about that kind of stuff, the
Yeah.
big lakes
Well,
like that.
Without those picks, he wouldn't have been the only one that would have been wet because
We'd have been
somebody
over
would
there.
have been over there trying to help
Well,
him out,
they
get
say-
him out, and they would
They
have gotten
say
wet.
2 to 5 people a day fall in
Fall through. Yep.
on Lake Huron
Yep.
in that bay alone.
Yep.
And that's why they have all those airboats, which in the episode,
Yeah.
we got airboat, footage of us getting in there.
Pretty
flying
cool
through.
footage of the four-wheeler
I've
coming
seen it. That's
out and all
pretty
that kind of
awesome.
stuff. But, it's not a situation we want to be in
Yeah.
for
No.
sure. But
It was scary because I've never witnessed it. Like, you've fallen in before. I don't know who else has fallen in, but I don't ever want to be in that situation. And when I'm sitting there eating breakfast, waiting for you guys to catch fish and stuff, and we look out, and we look at that guy, and
He's standing on his
we literally
four-wheeler.
said, if that guy goes 10 more feet, he's going in.
Yep.
Boom, gone,
But-
just like that.
But
Yeah.
we heard them screaming, "Hey, that guy went!" Whatever they were saying, we couldn't make it out. But we looked up, and this guy's standing on his four-wheeler.
Yeah, on
and
his
Taylor and I are
floating
like, "Are
four-wheeler.
you kidding me?"
Yeah.
He was in
Yeah.
14 feet of water. His
Yeah.
four-wheeler was floating, and he was on top of it.
Yeah, his handlebars
And then-
were stuck on the ice.
And then
or
he
whatever.
tried to
jump.
get out, and then he broke through again.
Yep.
And then he finally found
man.
good ice, crawled up.
Yep.
We get out there. But what that really reminds a guy is this: don't take stuff for granted.
Right.
No matter if you're on the bay or you're on Lake of the Woods or you're on Lake Bemidji. I mean, if we just use this, and we do take stuff for granted, we go for years without anything happening.
seen-
and it
I
only
just-
takes once.
Yeah,
It only
I
takes once.
just seen pictures of a truck that went through on Lake of the Woods last week.
Well,
Yeah.
and,
Yep.
and we'll get to Nancy later in another podcast, but she's also seen the same thing on her home body water. And you actually drove over there and you picked the guy up and you drove him to a safe, warm house.
Well,
where
let's
he
talk about
warmed
that
up.
for a second. If you ever do fall in, what do you do?
Strip
know,
down.
well, what do you do? Okay,
Get
so
rid of that
number
water.
one is get rid of your clothes.
Yep.
And
Right?
Absolutely.
Who cares
He
where you're
wouldn't.
at?
It
And he
sounds
didn't want
like
to.
the wrong thing to
refused
do,
to.
but you got to.
He didn't
He
want to do
refused
that.
to.
We threw 2
was-
heaters in there and said,
didn't want
"Get out of those clothes now."
Yep.
Because him and his buddy had come out on that 4-wheeler. They had no ride back in. I mean,
That was his
obviously
buddy's
we'd give him a
4-wheeler, by
ride.
the way.
Yeah.
But it's just he had a broken foot. He, he was hobbled up. I mean, we got him warm. We got him. We helped out as much as we could, as much as he'd let us. We called an airboat out. They recovered the 4-wheeler.
And the reason you get that them wet clothes off is, even though you're out of the ice and you're in a warm area, if you still have those super wet clothes on, you're still going to get hypothermia.
Isn't it crazy that we stressed ice safe? We stressed ice safety.
Episode
1.
3 months ago.
And then in episode 9,
we dealt with it.
we see it.
Yeah.
Someone almost, in a sense, dies. I'm not going to say someone dies, but in a sense, it was the worst conditions that possibly could happen, and we witnessed it live, and we recovered and saved, in a sense, this person.
Right.
And they were a little bit not wanting to be, I don't want to take my clothes. No, take your freaking clothes off. Get in that situation you need to be.
We're all taught this stuff, and that's all. It was pretty cool because everything that you know and you've heard and you dealt with and you know how to deal with the situation. It's almost like being trained as an ambulance
EMT
type person.
Yeah.
It just comes to you like that.
We drop the fishing rods. We go to save, go protect, go help. I mean, in a sense that
we're all family as fishermen.
and we hear
That's just what it is.
Before we got there, we heard. Couple days before, 2 or 3 people died.
The two older gentlemen that went through, and they went through in 4 feet of water.
4 feet of water.
But they were stuck in a blizzard, and they walked the wrong way.
They walked
and,
out on the lake.
Yep, they walked the wrong way, and what they ended up finding them 10 feet apart the next day.
I mean, the craziness
in the
about
worst way
ice safety,
possible.
how we started the season out to the middle of the season with actually witnessing it is absolutely crazy.
Not trying to discourage anybody
No,
from
not at
ice
all.
fishing, but winter is not a time. Ice fishing in winter is not a time for
messing around
games at all.
No, not at all.
Not even when you think it's the thickest ice that possible. We were fishing in thick ice, not knowing
inches.
that
20 inches.
200 yards away from us was 2 inches of ice. We knew.
We knew because the people that we were with knew, and that was one of the things that we talked about in the episode was when you go out to something like that's extremely unknown, especially a Great Lake where ice conditions are going to vary. I mean, they
change by the minute.
They do.
I was they've got to change by the hour.
There was anywhere from 20 inches to 2 inches to 6 foot wide cracks to cracks that you couldn't spud through.
Well, 3-4 days
crazy.
later, you couldn't even fish where we were fishing.
Where we were fishing was dangerous.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But before we switch to Brian, what was it like being able to sight fish? Well, let's go positive about the.
Let's go positive,
right?
Dude,
Well,
sight fishing?
the trip to Saginaw Bay was eye opening. It was a bucket list deal.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It was just an amazing experience.
And not over by Ohio.
And not by
Sorry, that's a different story. We'll talk about that.
What was
later.
it able for you to be able to sight fish big 20+ inch walleyes in 12 feet of water?
So sight fishing walleye, it basically turned me back into a kid.
You guys were pumped the whole time.
Oh my god, we were so pumped. I wish some of that GoPro stuff that we did or the early stuff when we figured out, all right, we need to drill bigger holes. We need to do spear size holes so we can see these fish better. Because when we first did it, we got up shallow, and we'd been fishing outside and slushing the holes and whatever else, and so we didn't really know that the water was as clear as it was. We knew it was clear water, but it was gin clear. So when we actually flipped up a shack and we got back in there, and we're looking at these fish, or looking down these holes, like, you can count the dots on your jig. You can see exactly how much, 12, 14 feet or whatever it was. Yeah, and it was crazy. So what ended up happening was we're just jigging and we're just having a BS session or whatever, and all of a sudden Taylor's graph lit up. He's got fish all over the place. So I'm looking down my hole like, oh my, I got 2 down here. What do you got? You got 2 over there. So we ended up on the floor like 2-year-olds staring down the hole. We're jigging. We got our rods above our heads so that we can actually jig with our face in the hole. And we're staring. We got 2 23, 24-inch walleye.
That's awesome.
And the presentation mattered, right? Like one person was doing one thing, the other person was doing another thing.
So what Taylor and I were doing, we had one rattle bait, ripping hard, and one flash spoon with meat on it. And that was kind of we're going to try and figure these out. Whatever one they like more, whoever's doing better, we'll switch if it gets to that. So once we had these fish come in and we got to see what was going on, I finally got one to trigger. And we ended up dorking at the hole out of all the excitement, trying to get deucers and all this other stuff. But it was immediate. We need to drill bigger holes. Yeah. So we drilled bigger holes. No sooner did we finish slushing them and we're staring at stuff, Mike calls. And he's like, I'm thinking about drilling bigger holes for like we're spearing. That's exactly what we just did.
Nothing like seeing a 26-inch fish come through a 12-foot.
That sounds super cool.
It was crazy.
That would be cool.
And the size of the fish. I mean, is that a 24? Is it a 29?
And how many 28, 29, 30-inch? I guarantee there was 30-inch.
Yeah.
Swimming underneath you.
And that was cool, but frustrating.
Yeah. Very frustrating.
Because those big ones come through and they're just like...
I used to sight fish bluegills year-round. And I know what frustrates.
There's a couple that are haunting me still. Like, what did I do wrong? Like, those guys had 2 people in the house. I had 1. And I'm literally like jigging. That wasn't working. I'm like, as fast as I can do. And there was a couple times where we actually got that on camera. It was like, boom. They just nail it.
Yep. It's crazy to see. When you sight fish, you can see how the fish reacts. You can see, the fish doesn't want anything to do with it.
There is actually seeing how they react on your Markham. Like, all right, what are they doing? Well, they don't like that. All right, I guess whatever. It's a whole nother ballgame when you see them circling like a damn shark at your bait, and you're like, all right, okay, that was too much. All right, I gotta slow that down. It doesn't like that. All right, I gotta jig it. Oh. And all of a sudden, it's like, okay, what I'm doing is good. Slow it down, bring it up, bang. And it was just pandemonium in the house.
A lot of the big ones just didn't give a crap. I mean,
it was the solos. It was the solos. So what we learned was that it just like when you're fishing bluegill or crappies or whatever, the more you have on the screen, the more aggressive one of them is eventually going to be because the competition is there. And that was almost exactly how it played out. When we would have solos come through, they would come in, maybe not even give it a sniff, but sometimes just give it a sniff, and they were on their way. They didn't care. Yep. You could jig it hard, you could rip it, you could just tickle it, whatever you wanted to do. They didn't care.
As Will would say,
just tickle it. They didn't care. They were. It's a solo. I don't need to eat this. There's plenty of food here.
Crazy. It was an awesome.
It was.
Episode.
Oh my goodness! It was a blast. And just that sight fishing thing. I want to take that home and to
apply that at home.
I want to apply that up on the northern lakes when we fish shallow enough.
I don't think it's clear enough.
I don't think it's clear enough either, but I think it's worth.
We got spoiled in there. I mean, we did literally in 14 feet of water.
So I take it
you could see at one point we drilled a big hole, and Aaron and I are sitting there, and like 10 feet off of our hole, like down and over.
You could watch
all of a sudden, whatever, 5 feet, whatever. Yeah. But it wasn't down directly in our hole, but it was over. All of a sudden, there's a pair of like needle nose pliers sitting there, and Aaron's like, somebody lost their pliers.
I'm like, there's a
no. I take it is Huron full of zebras?
Yes.
Okay, there's where the clarity.
A lot of the spots that we were fishing with was.
We had a lot of clam activity. We had a lot of shell activity underneath where we were at, and
it's got a fair amount. I think.
Okay.
So
it's super clear.
One of the things that I did while we were kind of goofing around when there were no fish underneath us was really like pay attention to what your bait was doing, or try and learn, some of the spoons that we're using, what they look like when you're banging the bottom, or just trying to flip it and see
when you're fishing open sight fishing, you can see how that bait reacts.
Exactly,
you can see your jig cadence and all that stuff.
I had a perch come in the last day we were there. I could count the stripes on the back of this thing.
14 feet of water.
14 feet of water, crystal clear. And I'm sitting there watching it, and I watched it attack my bait. I could see that it hadn't gotten past the hooks.
Yep.
I'm like, I don't need to set the hook on this. Suck it in again. Yeah. Do one more. And it shook its head like a dog, spit the bait, went for a little cruise, came back. I'm like, all right. I did it again. Same thing. I could see that it hadn't gotten the hooks in its mouth. That's how clear this water was. Yep. It was. I would have loved nothing more than to get that fish topside to see that if it was actually 14 or better, because it was a big perch.
When we one of the last spots me and you can switch around. One of the last spots that me and you were with, we saw that the players deal sitting down there like 4, 5, 6 feet of water. And it was so crystal clear. Of course, the water makes everything look a little bit bigger, but it was unreal. But
that's super cool that you guys were sight fishing because I grew up spearing northern pike,
20,
and that's where I learned a lot
fish.
of the fish behavior. And then I got right from that when I started angling as a young kid. I sight fished bluegills, and I'd watch these bluegills come up and just take in half of the waxworm, and just sit there with it in her mouth.
Yeah.
I'm like, we got a different game here.
And what we were fishing on Saginaw was a huge mud flat. There was nothing bringing them to that spot. And I think that's why that 1-2 punch presentation that we applied there was the big deal. We had the loud rattle baits and jigging.
It gets their
baits,
attention to come in.
Attention.
Yep.
And I caught a couple on that bait, but most of them I would switch out, and they once they were there and intrigued, put down something that they couldn't resist, and it happened. Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of, it no matter what application you're fishing, or for pretty much any fish, there's that opportunity. Just because you're not seeing them in your hole doesn't mean they're not 10, 15, 20 feet away, because that vibration in the water brings them in. They're curious. I like to call fish like little kids. You take something new out, rattle it around, and they're going to be like, what's that? What's that?
Yeah. Gets their attention.
Then, that's fishing.
Just crazy to be able to see a fish decide whether or not to take your bait with you being able to be above.
It was a heck of an experience for sure.
It's almost like a dude up above in the clouds looking down with a pizza, and it's over Patrick's face, and it's like, oh, you got to be quicker than that. You're like, you're sitting there like, do I want that pizza? I do not want that pizza.
Same way you catch fishermen. I mean, you go to a bait store and you have a bait that rattles. Oh, sorry, nice to meet you.
Brian.
No, you'll sell a fisherman the same way. I mean, you go to a bait store and you find a bait that rattles, you're going to sell that to that fisherman.
That's a pretty good way to think of it.
The only thing I could possibly say right now is Green Hornets got more fish than you've lied about.
So what have we touched on? We've kind of touched on episode 1 through 3, and then we skipped to 9.
We have skipped 9. Since Brian's in right now, let's jump to you and let's talk about Wisconsin, and we'll finish off with Evan, of course, in episode with the Winnie episode. But let's talk about the Wisconsin episode trout, the emotion roller coaster that goes up and down.
There was tears shed on that trip. Both
that was
sad
a cool
and
episode.
Happy. I mean, first off, Josh Clausen met a bunch of guys on the river fishing with his son. Cool story. And these two guys were like, you guys got to come down and do the ice fishing thing. And we're like, yeah, let's try it. We kind of went on a whim, and we knew going into that episode that the chances for, half a dozen fish a day were very slim, and we got out on the river and we put our time in, and we're fishing like right in the middle of town. And we parked the trucks and we would just walk.
Right in the middle of town.
Right.
Where we'd set up, hour, pull up, walk. Next bend. I mean, we end up 5 miles at one point from a truck. Like, we ended up walking back, one guy, grabbing a truck and bringing it like all the way through town to the other side. But it was tough. Wisconsin.
It was cold.
First off, these guys, obviously we're not from there, so we don't know exactly what they get on a normal basis. But normally they're saying they have like 12 inches of ice. They had 20 inches of ice when we were there.
Yeah, man. When I first saw that the vlog and then I watched the episode, I saw some footage that I'd never thought I'd ever see in my life. Running under a bridge.
Yeah.
Nuts.
On a frozen river. Like,
nuts and awesome.
Rivers just don't freeze up.
Yeah, Haley was texting me. She's like, you better not be doing anything crazy because it's on a river. And I'm sitting there like, well, let's run up to this trout here. And we were using the automatic fisherman, and we had them staged from where our hub was. We had it staged up 5 or 6 automatic fishermen up the river. And we're sitting there, and all of a sudden it's like, psh, automatic fisherman goes off.
Yeah,
and
the automatic fisherman's got like a hammer on it. You hear tunk, and you're like, which one? And you're just like,
really?
The emotions just go from, it's kind of just like tip-up fishing. You're sitting there, and all of a sudden it's like tunk, you're like,
and my
which one? And then you just go sprinting.
My unhealthy body was not loving it, but at the same time, I was super excited when I heard that clunk, because when we first started out, day 1, day 2, it was very slow. It was very cold. It was what they called the worst possible scenario for that specific
it looked
fishing.
Cold when I watched it.
And of course, river
cold. And
river fishing was the hardest because most people would go in the bay. So we went river, which was already harder, and then the cold weather came in. It was even harder. But when I heard that clunk, all I could think of is one more fish for the episode. Here we go. Let's do this. And then we take off running. I'd actually hand the case over to Jeff. Jeff was one of the guys in Wisconsin. And he's like, he's gone because he's like wanting. I'm
gets
like,
the camera there like ahead of time, case open. Aaron gets their camera, was ready to rock and roll. It was pretty cool. But
nice.
Back to we started that trip, and on the way there, it was talking about the kind of experience that we're going to have with this trip, and it's something we've never fished before. It's a type of fishing we've never done before with the automatic fisherman, baits we've never used. Techniques we've never used. And
everything came down to it, right? The length of the bait.
Yeah, I mean, we're fishing with two guys that really, I mean, they know what they're doing. But they were newer to the ice fishing side of steelhead fishing. And they put their heart and soul into what we were doing.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And it was fun. Then day 3, which, to be super totally honest with you, 110% honest, by when we woke up day 3, it was in our heads that we were like, we don't give up. We don't, but man, maybe we need to make that trek home and start figuring out the next episode, because we had 2 fish on film going into day 3. But Kerry, the guy that invented the automatic fisherman, we went and got set up, and he wasn't there quite yet, and we were all set up ready to go. And he walks down on the river. He's like, all right, guys. He's like, let's do this. Move that one a little bit. Move that one a little bit.
He was telling us
let's shorten some leads up. Let's not use so much weight. And that's where it's so important to pay attention to stuff, because the little details made the difference. We no more than change stuff up, and bam, we got another good fish.
I love that technical stuff. And after watching the episode, I was like,
heartbreak.
What did I miss, man?
It was heartbreak.
Even though I'm not a trout person at all, I was just like, this feels super technical and like attention to detail.
Well,
and like
everything.
You have to be really dialed in. And that's
Taylor,
the kind of stuff I dig.
Sitting there, hooked up. I run over there, I get the camera ready. And it was, we needed this catch, right? Like, in my mind, I need 10 good fish. And we're sitting there like 4 or 5 fish in. I'm like, we need this fish. I'm like, boom, it's hooked up. It's almost a guarantee when it's hooked up on this automatic fisherman. I'm sitting there filming. I'm like, all right, let's do this. You guys just do your thing, talk, information, etc. And I'm filming there, and then boom, line breaks, and he walks off.
Absolute heartbreak, because at that point, that was day 2. And that point, it was getting down to the end of the day, and we have all been talking, Taylor and Aaron and myself and Josh Clausen, we know what we need to get these episodes done, and we're going to put out an episode regardless, because fishing is fishing, and we know that, but we know that we need a certain amount of fish to make each episode done, and so it's good, and Taylor knew that, and we were at that point where we were halfway in panic mode, and it was a good fish. I mean, we never saw it. We don't know how big it was for sure, but it was definitely a good fish.
Yeah.
And that line broke, and it was just like that day. It crushed us all. It crushed him for sure. And it just, you're like, yes, fish on, it's going. He's fighting it for quite a while. And with these fish, you actually have quite a bit of time invested into these fish, fighting them, because they're making long runs downriver. You're using 6-pound test. I mean, everything's in the fish's favor. You just got to do it all right. And I mean, it just, the line got cut by the ice. That's just what it is.
I remember seeing that clip for the first time, and I ended up having goosebumps because I've been there. It was such a relatable moment on that video.
I know you texted me when the vlog came out, or you were actually at my house when the vlog came out, and you're like, dude, I have goosebumps from this vlog. From this video.
And then it's all black, and you hear, that's fishing, dude. That's fishing. Because we've all been there.
Yeah, we can all relate to it.
Absolutely.
So.
And
Mr. Cons.
Let's say the roller coaster started day 1, day 2, and the guys we were with were putting their time in. We had another guy that came through from the automatic fisherman, and with the help of the original 2 people, plus, was it Bob?
Bob and Carrie.
With all 4 of them for our last day, the puzzle pieces just aligned. We not only got more fish, but we got some doubles. Big fish on camera. We got a double on camera, which Carrie said, if you guys got that automatic fisherman getting hooked,
it's the first time ever?
First time ever on camera. And whether that's true or not, I still think that's an awesome achievement to be able to see that hook set and Taylor running over there.
We're at the end of the day, right? And we walk up to our last spot. We knew this was going to be the last spot. And Mr. Aaron, never satisfied what we got. We knew we had the show. He literally goes, he says this, he's like, what if we got a double? And like all of a sudden, like down the river, the last
5
two
minutes
down
later.
there, tink, and it's the one just before last. And it was my turn to reel. So I'm running down there, I grab it, I'm reeling in. All of a sudden, another one. And Taylor just takes off and starts whipping things around.
Yep.
It was just awesome. And
we needed that.
We were
secure.
honestly, out of any episode we've ever done, we were at the lowest of the lows. Like, it's a long ways away.
But we were at the highest of the high when we left.
And by when we left, I think we sang the 90s on 9 for like 8 hours straight.
If anyone knows.
We even did a live video on our staff page and just literally
I watched
sang
it. I'm like,
for like
something
an hour.
went down on this trip.
This is going to be special. You guys knew that as soon as we got on there. We're singing, hooting, and hollering.
Can we go back there, Mike? Can we go back there next year?
Absolutely.
I want to go. Because the one guy, he ended up messaging me.
Adam? Or Carrie? Or
Adam, Carrie, or Jeff. One of the three.
I want to say Adam, maybe. Beard, younger guy a little bit, I think.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff. Super cool guy. But was he the guy that had the...
They both had gloves on.
What's up with the...
So they do that for two
surgical
reasons.
gloves.
One, so they don't get their hands wet.
Okay.
And then two, so they're not getting that scent on the bait.
Are trout that... Like...
I think we found out they don't have to be, when you get the old wise guy in there,
Right.
What do you want to call it, Carrie came in and really, Jeff and Adam knew a lot about what was going on.
Okay.
But it was the finer points that maybe they hadn't figured out or had somebody show them. And when Carrie came in and really super good teacher, he sat down, taught us a lot in the one day we were with him and taught those guys a lot. He came in and really, told those guys what they needed to be concerned about and what they didn't need to be so concerned about. And maybe they were more concerned with the things they didn't need to be so concerned about. And needed to pay more to, like river current and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Where the slush pockets were in the river,
flow,
all that kind of stuff.
The slush pockets were a big deal.
And that's how your leads, that's how you determine your leads, all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
And it's really, Carrie's got 30 years of playing on the river.
Right.
So, he's got it figured out. And we got there day 3, and Carrie's first thing, he says, how many fish you need? And we're like, this. And he's like, ooh, that's going to be tough. And we beat it by 2.
Oh, sweet.
So it was nuts.
Yeah.
And he's just like, this is one of my better days on the river. You guys are, but, that's what happens. That's fishing.
Yeah.
We always come back to that this is fishing. And that's what makes Fish Addictions, and that's what makes our group of guys, and that's what makes fishing so much fun is the fact that put your time and effort in, and you're going to get rewarded at some point, and we got rewarded day 3.
The adventures that we have
I want to go
through.
It's awesome.
I want to go so bad.
The negatives, the positive, and the adventure that we have gone through so far in 9 episodes has been unreal. I can't wait to see what the rest of the episodes are like. Before Mr. Cons, the mastermind of the what's that rod you made?
The Green Hornet.
The Green Hornet. Before you leave, before we get Evan in here for that last episode talk, what has it been like for you to be on? Because last year you came along with so many trips.
Yeah.
And this year you've came on a lot of trips. So what has it been like season 3 for you to be able to come on some of these trips? What has it been like for you?
Any excuse I have to go and fish panfish, I'll go. I love panfish. I grew up in central Minnesota, and that's what we always targeted. So I live and breathe panfish. It's been a lot of fun doing that kind of stuff. I enjoy walleyes. I started getting into it in the last couple of years. It's been a lot of fun, but I like
forced you into it with all of us walleye snobs, I guess.
I'm going to resist with everything I have.
What's that?
I'm going to resist with everything I have.
Yeah, but you're just that type of guy that if you get to wet a line, that's just what it is.
Oh, yeah.
What episodes have you came on? Crappies, episode 1?
Crappie, episode 3, bluegill.
Episode 3, bluegill.
And Winnie, walleyes.
Winnie. So we'll talk about Winnie in a second. We're going to talk about it
bourbon.
slightly with Evan. But Episode. Let's just key on episode 1 and episode 3 here before we switch to Evan. What was it like starting episode 1 out with a bang with the crappies, and then transitioning into episode 3 with the bluegills and the big foreheads?
I want to hear your honest opinion on those crappies, the quality of those crappies.
I mean, going into it, I expected to catch a few crappies here and there. I didn't expect it to be the caliber of fish that we ended up getting. I mean, anytime you can get 13, 14 and a half inch crappies. And
I think we even did have 1 or 2 15s that day.
Yeah, I had one that was close to 15.
On the Green Hornet.
Yep.
Green Hornet strikes again.
I've got more fish than you've
lied
about.
If you can get that many quality fish in one day, I mean, that's a great day.
It's a dream for some dudes.
It is. It is.
I love that shot and that Cons is on one knee. He just
holds
it's like from a distance, like here I am,
and not every
having the time of my life.
Not every fishing trip is a success, and this was an over success in a sense.
And from what I've heard from a lot of different fishermen in Minnesota, North Dakota, this year has been a very, very tough year with all these inconsistent temperatures. The fish are not acting like they're acting like they should for the temperatures we've had. So to be on bites like that and be successful, I mean. We've had some pretty tough conditions, and we still get it done. We make the best of it, get out there. We still have a great time. I mean, it's been a lot of fun. We've caught a lot of fish, and I've enjoyed it the whole time.
So I got a question for you. You know, Brian, along with... Well, Brian, you were year 1 of Fish Addictions you came on.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, out of everything that you've been a part of, for this season, what's your favorite and one memory? It doesn't have to be filming, just one thing that stands out more amongst over and above everything else.
Besides meeting me.
Yeah. Oh, that is a very, very tough question. Thank you for putting that on me right now. Oh.
Burbot. Green Hornet, strike again.
Burbot.
Yeah, the burbot. I know you want me to say the burbot.
Correct answer. Correct answer is burbot.
No, I caught a couple burbot out on Winnie.
That's true, Winnie.
But, no, I mean, in general, it's crazy to think how far this Fish Addictions has come in the last, 7 years? 6 years?
I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, I don't know.
2 years on TV, 3 years Fish Addictions, 5 total, I think.
Yeah, so from what it started out as the online fishing forum to what it is today, I mean, I don't think I could pick one thing out of those 7 years that, I don't think I could pick one thing.
I think your answer would be friendship, trips, camaraderie, being together.
One of my favorite things, even though I love fishing and I live fishing, is the conversations that we have to and from some of these trips, and the conversations you have afterwards. And it may not even be fishing conversations. Maybe we're talking about current
just
events.
Life.
Maybe we're just doing that. It's funny because personally, Aaron and I get a ton of questions. And one of the questions that we get a lot, which I'll actually love to hear you answer this, Patrick, because you've been on other staffs. You're on our staff now.
Yep.
You're doing the Broken Line podcast. Is what's one piece of advice that you would give somebody that wants to maybe pursue what you guys are pursuing? And I know how we answer it all the time. Love to hear, from your perspective.
Oh, hold up. He took his headphones off. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Headphones come off. That's like rolling the sleeves up.
Well, no, I got to let oxygen in so I can formulate sentences here. The way I look at it, you got to be humble. Okay? Be humble. Be kind. Have fun. Be yourself.
Bango.
I like the
being genuine.
You have to be true to you to do what
exactly. And these guys all give me a hard time because I even call myself out. I'm the weird guy of the group. I'm not much of a walleye fisher, but I'll go. But man, you get me on a hot bullhead bite or a hot party crappie bite. I'm just tickled. I'm an opportunist. If the walleyes are snapping,
crappie we caught today, I looked over at Patrick and he's just smirking, these guys are getting addicted to this.
I kept saying, everybody's smiling and having fun, but all the years of getting grief. But it's just, for me, fishing is and being a part of this group is just, man, it's life. You shouldn't boil things down to okay, in the morning every day I eat cornflakes and then I go to work and then I walleye fish. If you do that every day, I would go insane. I like to mix it up. I like to get up late sometimes for work. I like to have Fruity Pebbles some days. Sometimes I like to have toast. Sometimes I like to catch bullheads. Sometimes I like to catch walleyes.
I think with fish
be true to
addictions,
yourself.
And that's just who I am. And I'm not going to pin myself in a corner and be like, oh, this is what I am.
I think with fish addictions, it's a big open market for everything.
Yeah,
being yourself, enjoying the Fruity Pebbles, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and what I want to do with fish addictions is I just want to show that, man, fishing is what it is to you, what you make of it.
We're actually going to put out a mini episode of our party crappie experience.
We're gonna try.
We're gonna put something together. We had fun with it today.
Did you guys have fun? I know.
Absolutely.
Going into it, Mike, you were like, oh God.
No, it was my idea. Give me that.
I kind of
the seed.
Yeah, I was like, hey man, we should do some fun fishing. And I know exactly when I typed you that message, you're like, that
there goes Patrick
bitch
again.
wants to put me on rock bass. I suppose I'll entertain the kid. And
it was fun. It was
fun.
a fun
I said,
day.
all I want to do is catch one of these party crappies. And
then be gone out of here.
And then I just
eyes
kept,
are rolling.
then I just kept. And I think maybe I caught the biggest one today.
You did.
Inches.
I came up a little short with a 12 and a half.
It was
or 11 and a half.
It was a fun day because
if I had a 12 and a half, you'd all know about it.
Yeah.
Because I know exactly what the 12 and a half would weigh. I'd be like, peace, I'm out. I got to call the game warden.
Not every day do we get to fun fish and have fun.
Yeah,
and
that was what was really cool.
We were waiting on the kids' event. We had fun.
We were packed in that glacier like sardines, but we were all having a good time. And
turn the music on.
And
just chill.
those are the things that I really, really enjoy. I've in my life I've fished really hard for a long, long time, and I've gotten to that point now where I still like to fish hard, but for me now, a lot of the focus is on making memories and having fun. And man, if we get a big fish, that's great. If we don't get a big fish, did we have fun? Hell yeah, we had fun.
We just caught fish and have fun.
It was a blast.
Awesome.
But before we wrap her up, we got our junior. Put headphones back on.
Young kid of the group.
Our young kid of the staff.
There he is.
And if his mom saw him driving his UTV the way he was out on Winnie, she would ground him for a month.
I was gonna ground him.
Yeah.
And I'm not even a parent.
I mean, we had a guest on the show, and we're like, Evan, can you take Tracy out? And he's like, yeah. And then he's out there just all over the place.
I had to really give her to get through those big drifts out there.
Dude, what are you talking about? You could easily walk that. You just wanted to give it. You wanted to send it.
Send it.
Yeah.
So Evan is our young pro staffer of Fish Addictions TV. His mom is Nancy, which is a staff member of Fish Addictions TV. He's also a staff member, and he came out on Winnie, which was our guest. The guest won a trip, which was Tracy. So tell me a little bit because we haven't talked about episode 8. This will be the final episode of the 9 episodes we've talked about this episode. This Broken Line. Tell me a little bit about the Winnie episode, how big the lake is. The structure is tremendous. We decided to break it down into football-size, deals. We had a little bit of the Hang Loose guys. We had the Fish Addictions guys. We had Tracy, which was our winner from season 2. You caught some of the biggest fish, and you showed up all the big boys, the old guys. So tell me a little bit about the Winnie episode.
And I wasn't fishing that far away from you, and I'm like, what is he doing? I got to find out.
Yeah, well, I actually had to get up quite early for that one too on Saturday morning. Left at 3:30 from our house to make the drive.
A.M.
Yeah, A.M. To make the.
And your mom's like, has Evan showed up yet? No. Well, let me know when he gets there.
Yeah,
and then you get there, we're like, have you talked to your mom? Yeah, she called me right as I was pulling in.
Yep. So your mom gave you the UTV.
Yep.
The truck. You came up to the Cass Lake area, the Winnie area.
Yep.
You came out on the ice with us. Tracy was one of the winners of the trip. You got to fish kind of side by side with her.
Yeah, we gave her a ride out there.
Yeah, you were giving a ride out there. You and her fished together. You got some of the bigger fish of the episode. What was
between
it?
him and Tracy, they definitely got the big fish.
So what was it like being out there and just enjoying big Winnie with how much structure there is, breaking it down with Fish Addictions? What was it like?
It was a blast. I mean, I'd never fished Winnie before, ice or open water, so it was pretty cool just to go up there and see what it's all about.
Whatever.
Winnie is a beast in itself. Yeah, if you look at Lake Winnie, Winnipegashish on the map on the depth charts, you look at it and you're like, oh, where do I start?
Well, yeah, I said, hey, I want to go out there and fish burbot off Mid-Lake Hump. So you're like, which one? I don't know.
Of the 10,000 that are out there.
Right.
So I mean, our strategy going into that episode was literally breaking it down in like a half mile by half mile chunk and really just concentrating on those areas. There's a lot of fish in that lake.
Yeah.
And we know that.
Even more perch.
If you try to break that lake down, you'll be lost and going in circles. You could fish for a week straight every single day and not cover half that lake. Yeah. So our strategy, and what I would recommend to somebody else doing the same situation, is really minimize it. And
just focus your attention on one
area.
Yeah.
And make and really put a good effort in that area. Once you figure out what type of structure, what type of things those fish are keying on, if you get that figured out, then you can kind of start expanding your search.
You can look at different areas that are similar.
Yeah.
What were you using for? What was your ticket for bait? Because in the episode, you're clearly killing it
out there, dude. I'm struggling, and you're like locked.
He's all about the snacks that are about to be delivered to him, and you're catching 23 to 24
he sends us
fish.
A video. He's like, when's a man going to get fed out here?
Well, so basically what I was using was just like that Acme, they had the smaller Rattlemaster, and then like the smallest one they make, and then just one that was a couple sizes up from it.
Minnow?
Just kind of
Minnow
head.
Minnow head,
yeah.
What was the depth?
I was using the same thing.
Well,
he won't tell me.
Most of the time,
it was the wiggle. Well, he got the right wiggle.
He got the wiggle going.
Yeah,
what was
most
the
of the
depth?
time it was on top of those mid-lake humps that we were fishing, so like 22, 23 feet, I think was kind of the...
You did.
And you...
Yeah, and let's put in there that the minnows came from Kep's Bait, Glenwood, Minnesota.
Yep.
Yeah, we brought it from Glenwood all the way up.
There's a cheap plug.
Yeah, that's free advertisement. Here we go. And so you what was the depth?
Like 23.
23 on the hump?
On top, yeah.
On top the hump.
The one spot where I caught like 3 of them was literally like dead center.
So we were taking a football field with 2 football fields. We were expanding 10 people. We were trying to figure out what would be the best. You were on the hump with a minnow head, doing 2 different sizes, and you were catching.
Just kind of switching it up.
You were just the lucky kid. While your mom's texting us like, "Oh my God, he's catching the biggest fish."
Yeah, they just
it started out with
just like that too.
Yeah. Oh my God, I get my
the Snapchats and the messages started. Oh my God, please look out for him on his drive. He's never been this far away on his own.
And he ended up out fishing a lot of the people that were there. Stud Muffin over there.
It was a lot of fun.
Now, are you gonna, I mean, Winnie's this tomorrow, right?
The Winnie's already out by the time this comes out. Yeah.
But yeah. So you're gonna
tell the girls
at school and be like, "Yo, what up?
Yo, what up?"
On TV.
I don't know, Mom. Does he have a special girl already?
Yeah. This is what I want to know.
I asked him who he's taking to prom, and it was a big secret, and I couldn't get it out of him.
Big
You have a prom date. Let's ask that.
I know. You know what? I know.
Yet.
I know what he's gonna bring.
He knows
to prom.
already.
Scoop of fathead minnows.
Scoop of fathead minnows to prom.
Well,
I did. Skip,
that's what I would do.
I did skip prom once to go fishing.
I did.
I mean, you got to do it.
Fishing opener.
Fishing opener, exactly. Fishing opener.
Well, I never went to any prom.
Really?
That's just because you couldn't get anybody to ask you.
Well, it was awesome to have not only the winner of season 2 come out, but Evan, our youngest staff member, to come outfish everyone. We had an awesome season 3 halfway through the season. We still have half the season to go, including open water, more ice fishing, different locations, different shoots. And what do you think about the upcoming schedule, Mike, with not knowing where we're going to go for the rest of the season?
I mean, we're going to continue to focus on things that we think everybody's going to want to watch. We haven't hit South Dakota yet. We'd like to get there. North Dakota is always going to be something.
Perch.
We'd like to do perch, maybe
We'd love to do perch.
I'm going to do perch either way.
Manitoba?
Made plans with
Manitoba. We'd like to get up and do some big Lakers. It's a trip we've been trying to, finagle for 2 years, and I think we might get her done this time.
You going to invite the Lucky Gun?
Oh, he outfishes everyone.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Maybe just keep him off in reserves.
Reserves.
Like, all right, guys, we're struggling. Bring out Evan.
Yeah,
Evan, we need you out here right now.
Reliever, get over here.
I'm down.
Aaron and I do a good job of collaborating with each other and just really bouncing things off of each other, and we spend a lot of time talking on the phone before shoots, during, in the vehicle, as we're going to a shoot, and we actually skipped over a lot of things that we did first part of the season that really cool. One that really sticks out was we're driving to Green Bay to do white fishing, and we've had people ask us many, many times to get that, experience or that point of view from behind the camera, like what's he doing, how is he getting that stuff,
right.
And how is that made? And I looked at Aaron and I was like, do you think we should do it? Like, what do you think of that? And he's like, up to you, man. And I'm like, well, it's a gamble,
but it was really cool.
It really brought an intimate part of Fish Addictions that really happens. And we went out there to start filming that, and we got Thor, who is, one of our, I wouldn't say old staffers. He's still part of Fish Addictions. He's not on the staff anymore, but he helps out and does a lot for us still. And he was gung-ho, came down there with the guys that came, because we met the guys from Green Bay down in that area of Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin. He jumped in with Jim and Taylor and those guys and came down there. And I really think it showed a side of our show and what our production and stuff like that nobody's really ever seen or thought of. And there's a lot of people that have thought of it because they've asked about it. But I don't know that in a fishing sense or on Fox Sports North that anybody's seen that perspective of what goes on. And then to turn around the next week and to just get to see exactly what was happening on the ice, because we didn't give you a lot of what we were catching, that first episode. Yeah. We just really gave you a sneak into what's going to come the next week, so you had a little bit of a feel. Right. And then the next week it's just boom, 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 smallies all over the place. Well, it was nuts.
I thought it was great because I've thought about this many times, and Aaron or any cameraman on any fishing show, but being that I know Aaron very well, they don't have an easy job, man.
Nope.
Not at all. And if you think that, all he does is hit record, it's
you have to be a true artist.
Yeah,
because he's seeing. A lot of times when we're out there catching fish, we're out there putting fish topside and doing the talking and stuff. But in his head, he's seeing how it's going to come together and how it's going to play and the different things that we need to do, and also take the fish into consideration. So when a fish comes topside, he's getting the shots he needs in a timely manner to the well-being of the fish, to the well-being of the lake, to the the time that we have, the short time we really have, and even the
ice. Stuff off the lake, taking care of his gear, making sure things.
My favorite episode so far.
Yeah, it's super
I think next year, if we did it again, it's going to be even more in depth, even more better, from the behind the scenes.
Well, we learned a lot from what we did this year, and people are already calling for it. And then you get the next episode where Jim's got Hulk on the ice. People noticed that.
Love that.
That was surprised how many people noticed that. That was pretty cool.
Yep, I noticed it.
So first 9 episodes, Fish Addictions Season 3.
The Hulk's tough.
The Hulk's tough. We've had Jim, we've had Brian, we've had Evan, we've had Anthony in for the studio, as well as Mike, the host of the Fish Addictions TV.
Most people we've had in this little thing.
A lot of people in the studio, but hopefully the next couple episodes, all the way up to episode 17? 17 episodes. We've now covered 9. Yep. At the end of the 17 episodes, we'll get a couple people in again, talk about the second half of Season 3, Fish Addictions TV. Hopefully everyone's been... It's kind of a cool story to hear everything kind of play by play if you've seen all the episodes so far.
Yeah, I think the only one we didn't cover is whitefish, but Green Bay was Green Bay. I mean, they were just sharks and a lot of fun and a lot of fish topside. Yep. And
that whitefish is cool, man. It plays to my hand. You know, I'm the odd guy out. You know.
Well, when we did it in a different way, you know, a lot of the people out there are familiar with fishing them with cameras, and we went in there and pretty much put the flashers aside and fished them with just the camera.
Yeah,
and they'll come in 4 or 5 at a time and just circle that bait, and boom, you know, it just grabs it.
We didn't even use the Markham. We used the Markham camera to see the fish. They look like sharks coming in. It was super windy, just like, you know, we've been used to. Green Bay, Wisconsin, whitefish, and it was awesome. We ended up having some smoked fish, whitefish in the end. Awesome. I mean, episode 1 through 9 so far has been a roller coaster of emotions, up and down between all 9 episodes.
Yeah.
It's been an awesome trip, no doubt.
Absolutely. And I want to say thank you to everybody that to this point has supported what we're doing.
Absolutely.
We've got a different theme going this year than ever before. You know, really cool places we're stopping, people stopping and talking. And I want to put that out there because, you know, some people will message us and say, you know, I didn't know I saw you guys here, but I didn't want to bother you. Please bother us. You know, it's not a bother.
How many people have stopped us at gas stations?
Tons of people, and
Snapchatted us.
I love it. Stop
us.
and say hi, and it gives you a new sense of what you're, you know, of I don't even know how to say it. It just validates everything you do every time somebody stops and says, I love the show. Whether we're your favorite show or you just like it, we don't care. Just stop and say hi. If you see the big trailer, snap us. If you see us at a gas station or on a lake, please come up and say hi, and that's what we really want.
Yeah, it's totally safe to say we're regular fishermen.
Absolutely, 100%.
Like, come on over and
I say it time and time again that we are getting the opportunity to live out our dreams, and we're trying to make the best of it and trying to do what we can do, and trying to keep it going and show people that fishing is more than just fishing. You have friends, you have memories, you have fun times on the ice or open water or in the boat on your travels. We want to show people that taking a trip to Saginaw Bay, part of the experience is the drive. Part of the experience is the people you're with. Part of the experience is the laughs you have on the ice. Yeah. We slept in a trailer house in Saginaw, and I honestly, when I went away from it, I wouldn't have it any other way. The group of guys we were with, we were one.
Absolutely. They were awesome
fish
guys.
fries and just a super cool experience all the way around and arms wide open, and that is why I love Fish Addictions TV. Yeah. It's because I'm no better than you.
We get an experience.
Well, we get the opportunity to fish places that are once in a lifetime places, and plus we're fishing our own backyard. We're fishing places we fished when we were kids, fishing memories, fishing different places. In one of the episodes on the second half, I'll do a little spoiler here. We visit a place that I went to 22 years ago as a kid.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, that's absolutely episode unreal. From 9 plus 9, 10, 11, 12,
I mean, that's
13.
a little bit of a spoiler alert, but I mean,
open water Canada,
unreal. Yeah. And I just love my Fish Addictions family, and that includes the people that watch. That includes the people that come and say hi. That includes everybody we're around. It includes anybody and anybody that supports what we're doing. You are part of the Fish Addictions family, and we're here to help, teach people fishing, help get people involved in fishing, outdoors in general, because all of us here are outdoor enthusiasts, not just fishing nerds, know.
I'm already thinking, man, I can't wait to go get some mushrooms.
Ooh, morels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might have to put the fishing rods away for a little bit and go get some mushrooms because I like to eat.
We have had a good first half of Fish Addictions TV.
Thank you.
And
we appreciate all the content.
I want to take this moment here to thank Aaron.
Yeah. Let's thank everyone that came along for the trip.
Everyone.
Let's thank me too.
Aaron, you know what though, Aaron? Don't sell yourself short, man, because you really put it together. Even though you hate saying it, when you're like, we need 3 more fish. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. Okay, we need 3 more fish. You said that 3 more fish.
What you guys don't see is the hugs and the high fives, and Aaron and I get back to the hotel room and we just literally lay on the bed and be like, oh man, that
Day
was
one
awesome.
I hate you and I love you. Is it a hate you, I love you thing?
No,
yeah, it can be.
Sometimes we fight each other.
It depends how hangry he is, but
sometimes I'm
it's just what it is. But that's one thing I would never take back. I mean, part of the reason that we continue to do Fish Addictions is because of the friendship that Aaron and I have formed of spending thousands and thousands of miles on the road with each other. You know, I can call him and talk about my issues or he can do the same, and we just really have become just really good friends.
We have a lot of family issues.
He's not just the guy that's filming Fish Addictions TV and part of Fish Addictions TV. He's legitimately one of my best friends, and it really comes through on camera. And the way he cares about the show, the way I care, he cares just as much about this show as anybody else.
Yeah,
or more.
And when I first joined till this moment now, man, Aaron, you know, hey man, you doing all right? You've messaged me, Pat. You doing all right? You know, if something doesn't
we go through
right.
we go through family stuff.
Jim's concerned about my dating life. Jim wants to fix that.
We're all concerned about your dating life.
Wingman.
He's already like calling out.
Wingman, son.
Yeah, you know,
we go through a lot of family stuff,
love,
and we're all together as a family. And it's been episode 1 through 9 out of 13 episodes. Fish Addictions TV season 3. So we've been on a roller coaster of emotions. We got a couple more episodes to go.
I think what's fitting to end. I'm assuming you're trying to end this because we're doing. But I think what's fitting to end this whole thing is season 1 through 9. Please,
season 3, episode 1 through 9.
Episodes 1 through 9. Let us know your favorite part, your favorite memory from the people watching here, and we're gonna put together a prize package worth $500. I don't know exactly what it's gonna be.
Okay.
But we'll put a $500 package together, and send it to us in. Just give us an explanation of your favorite.
Message us or comment.
You know what? I don't want to do a comment. I want somebody to actually
a video clip on their phone. Turn your phone.
Yep.
Turn around. Do a quick video clip.
That's better than what I was.
A $500 prize, and I promise you that it's going to be good. It's going to be worth it. Right?
For a
$500 on season 1, and let us know why you connect with us.
Yeah, because in 3.5 seconds you can go through the like, comment, share thing.
So
I want somebody to really think about it.
Season 3, episode 1 through 9, halfway through the season. Messages on the Broken Line podcast.
Why don't we do this 2 ways? Why don't we share this on the Broken Line, and we'll share it on Fish Addictions? I mean, we're recapping season 1.
Yeah.
We'll get this out there for everybody.
So message us either on.
I love everything about Fish Addictions. You know, laughs, shares, tears. What do you like about it? You know,
message us on the Broken Line podcast, or message us on Facebook or on Fish Addictions Facebook page.
Yep.
Tell us in a video format what your favorite thing about the first half of the season is. Let us know, and we will put you in a drawing for a $500 package from Fish Addictions TV. And don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. Fish Addictions TV YouTube, Broken Line YouTube, Fish Addictions Facebook page, Broken Line Facebook page, Instagram for both as well.
Yep.
Let us know how you feel. Let us know, what you think of the season, what maybe the excitement level of your, coming up on the rest of the season, and the excitement level.
Well, maybe in the closing, one thing that a lot of people don't know about what we do, even though they maybe watch the episodes, is, and then we do touch on it, is the best way that we can really portray what we do. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff. We are maybe, I'll put it out there, I think we're probably one of the most active between all fronts.
But there's
our
Twitter,
our fishing reports, our staff do a really great job from around the entire Midwest and the Ice Belt and in the open water season to give really detailed, up-to-date fishing reports on bodies of waters and locations and that kind of stuff that I really think people can find helpful. And, we're so much more than a fishing show. It's unreal. The fishing show is just a portion of what we do.
Yeah. We're trying to help the general public as much as we can, and we hope the general public helps us as best we can by putting fishing content out there for everyone to see.
Absolutely.
So like, comment, share, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Fish Addictions TV, Broken Line Podcast. And, I'm Aaron.
I'm Patrick.
I'm Mike.
And this is
The Broken Line.
The Green Hornet strikes again!
Thank you for listening to Broken Line Podcast. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media. Like, share, comment, and subscribe.